Hello everyone once again. Listen, I would have loved to have done something else for the later on in this. It'll just go as far as the Great American Bash this time. But listen, we kind of can't because well, we can't. There's only one match with an ECW person on it, and I looked at the card, and there's not really a lot of room to do anything else. So I'll talk about that in a little while. So basically, a lot happens between now and then. A lot of talent gets taken away. So look, I haven't had a chance to go through everything that happened, but it's a lot of booking on the fly, it seemed like, at this time. So there is problems with that. Plus, we've got to take the belt off Rob Van Dam. So let's talk about everything leading up to that. We got basically one show to get through before that. So we kick things off June 27th. This is straight after the Vengeance pay-per-view. Roadkill gets beaten by Knox, who's debuting. I think it's a bit tab two big guys. This match doesn't have to go long, so yeah, it's easy to go through. Just Incredible versus Balls Mahoney. Now this will be our token Extreme Rules match of the night. These guys will go for distance and they have a good, nice TV hardcore match. And yeah, we have Just Incredible go overboard. Now that's over, not overboard. Anyway, so yeah, there'll be a reason for that later on. Then we have main event, Kurt Angle versus Rob Van Dam. Don't worry about that noise. Yeah, apparently this did happen. So this would be ideally, I guess that maybe some stuff was coming out and they wanted to get it done because they knew Kurt wasn't long for everything. And if I knew that too, I would say, yep, okay, we're gonna just get this match, which will be good. We'll put it on TV, and yeah, VD would go over. Now we have a problem. We have a pretty big one. The following week, Rob Van Dam would be caught with some drug paraphernalia. And yeah, personally now it wouldn't be as big of a deal, but state and everything. So we have to do something about it. We have to get the belt off Rob. So who do we give this to? Well, first choice, a lot of people would say, well, give it to Sabu. We can't. He was caught in the same situation. We're not going to give it to the Big Show because we know what happens with that. Now, I can see the logic in it. He's the next biggest star. We can't put it on Kurt because, well, he's got problems and he's not going to be staying around. And, yeah, so we can't do that. So I looked over the roster and I thought, well, who's the logical person to put this on? Well, I came up with an idea. And we'll get to it. Kick things off with the show with Just Incredible versus Doring. He goes over, Just Incredible goes over, and then we have the debuting Mike Knox and Test as a tag team, taking on the FBI. So, yeah, Test and Mike Knox go over. Now, earlier on in the night, we talk about some stuff. We have Paul come to the ring and say we're going to have a championship match tonight. And he brings up the history of the ECW title and how a certain somebody, while he was ECW champion, and he stayed with ECW to the bitter end, and he feels it's a good idea to reward that. So he's going to give a title shot to his best friend, one of his best friends in the wrestling business, Tommy Dreamer. And Tommy comes out and says, "Well, I don't know if I deserve this." And Paul says, "You do. I'm not handing you the belt. It's going to be it's going to be tough for you to win the championship. But I feel you deserve this opportunity." And they go over that. Tommy says, well, he even says, "Hey, look, there's other people backstage that probably deserve a shot before me." And he says, why doesn't Kurt get a rematch? And Paul says, all those guys in the back, they're going to get their chances later on. You, my friend, are going to take your chance tonight. This is a reward for everything you did for the original ECW. And yeah, he goes in and he fights. Comes a moment where it looks like RVD is going to retain. He gets pushed off the top rope and gets flown down, and he gets up and realizes it's just incredible. Just incredible. Super kicks him before he can throw a steel chair at him and catch him with the Van Terminator. And he goes down, and before anything can happen, Tommy gets up and looks around. Rob gets up, he hits him with the DDT, and he counts 1, 2. The counts 1, 2, 3. The referee counts, and then out of nowhere, Just Incredible gets up from beside the ring, and that's when Tommy realizes. He looks at the belt and looks at Justin, and Justin walks back down the aisle and he's clapping his hands, and you see him say, "You owe me one," and that's how we end things. The following week, it's announced that Vince McMahon has suspended Rob Van Dam. Now, this is important, is Vince McMahon has suspended him, and and Paul tells the truth, because I think it's important that we tell the truth when it comes to things like this. We say, well, that's why he's being suspended, because of the drug incident. And Paul says, "Look, I know I make jokes all the time, but this isn't," and he says, "this isn't the original ECW. This is the new ECW, and we're under the WWE umbrella. So we've got to follow their rules." So yeah, that's how we get out of that situation. So the following week, yes. To insert, we got to do some catering for the WWF for Raw's storylines. We have it is announced that Ric Flair is coming to ECW, and he's going to be appearing that night. And he comes out, he comes out and he trashes the place. He says, "So this is ECW. This is where that glorified stuntman Mick Foley made his name. Blah blah blah." And Tommy comes out with his ECW title and says, he comes out and he cuts a promo right back on him. He says, "Yes, this is where Mick Foley made his name. This is the same place where Mick Foley spat on that WCW title belt, tag title belt, because his pride was more important than a championship. And Rick, you've won the WWE championship. You've won the WCW championship. You won the NWA championship, but you've never won this ECW championship, because Rick, you never had what it takes to make it in ECW. And then, of course, he says, "Oh yeah, I did. I had it all." I think he says, "Well, prove it tonight. I'm willing to put the title on the line against you, Rick." And Paul Heyman comes out and says, "Perfect. That's exactly what the match I was going to make." So tonight it's Ric Flair versus Tommy Dreamer for the first time ever. And yeah, you've got a match, and he says it's going to be fought under Extreme Rules. And yeah, you instead of that match he had with Big Show, instead he's having it with Tommy Dreamer, which I think would probably be just as good, if not better. And plus, we're hitting on nostalgia still, because a lot of that is why we kind of cut off the nostalgia thing a little bit too early with the original. That's when the belt went from Rob Van Dam to Big Show. I think if it went to another ECW original, a lot of the stuff wouldn't be as bad as it was taken. So we have Just Incredible versus Balls Mahoney. That match would be some hardcore stuff in that one, and it would go off really okay. We have Big Show, Mike Knox, and Test taking on Sandman, Sabu, and Kurt Angle. And Kurt Angle would get the win. He would pin Test 1, 2, 3. Because despite all of the stuff, Kurt Angle would still be the biggest star in the company. And then we go to the ECW match, Tommy Dreamer versus Ric Flair. Now, I thought about it, but I don't think Tommy would need any help going over Ric Flair here. Ric Flair's older, and I think it would be a bloody match. I think it would be good. Throughout there would be an interview earlier on. Ric Flair would say, "Well, I've taken on hardcore legends like Cactus Jack and Terry Funk," and Tommy Dreamer would say, I tagged with Terry Funk earlier this year, and he is my mentor and everything, and blah blah blah." And Tommy would go over here really well. I think Rick would tear him apart in the promos, but I think having Tommy go over is a lot better. Then we go to Saturday night's main event. Now, but hang on, before this, I just should say this. I just came up with this just now. After the match, when Tommy's celebrating in the ring, he's going, "Yeah, I've won the championship. It's his first successful title defense. It's against the Nature Boy Ric Flair." From behind, whack, with a kendo stick. It's just incredible. Tombstone in the ring, and he grabs a mic and says, "Tommy, see you at Saturday night's main event." Boom. We're going to that match. ECW title for Extreme Rules match. It's Tommy Dreamer versus Just Incredible. And Tommy Dreamer would go over. Because, well, Justin's not long for this world. And yeah, so just I'll just do the next show and say what's going to happen at Great American Bash. So Test and Mike Knox go over Little Guido and Tony Mamaluke again. We announced that the Undertaker has shown up, and he's going to be taking on Kurt Angle in the main event. And I think this would be their rematch from No Way Out. and it's going to happen on ECW TV. And Sabu goes over CW Anderson, and in the main event, of course, Kurt Angle goes over the Undertaker, because I don't think Taker would mind going up against Kurt Angle and losing. I think he'd be fine with it at this stage of his career. His legacy is well and truly taken care of. Yeah, and I don't think it's a good idea to do anything with him and Kevin Thorne yet. Then we go on to the Great American Bash. Instead of doing the Punjabi prison match, because it turns out there was not a lot. If we had to do it, I'd be like, okay, fine, but it's Big Show versus Undertaker here, and having a Punjabi prison, it's never worked out. It's always been hard to shoot and everything. I don't mind the concept, but it was crazy. But ideally, if my booking of this wouldn't happen that way. I'd just have Big Show lose to Taker here, because I think that's what happened anyway. Yeah, that's it for this chapter. We'll be back and we'll do the road to SummerSlam. Thanks for listening, and catch you all next time.